Hello, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to view this important video about the powerful AccuZIP6 5.0, a low-cost, feature-rich data quality and mailing software. My name is Steve Belmonte, president of AccuZIP, and I'll be showing you the AccuZIP6 5.0 product today. AccuZIP was started back in 1992. We develop powerful data quality and mailing software products and services for the mailing industry, data quality, and list industry. We're also accredited by the Better Business Bureau with an A+ rating. We're a proven prominent leader in this industry because of our customer service and support policies. They're now mirrored by other companies that are trying to keep up with what we're doing here for the last nearly 18 years. We've always provided, it's always been our number one goal to provide the best technical support and customer service experience here at AccuZIP. Also, our product pricing models. We were the pioneers of unlimited access to a change of address, and we continue to charge a fair price for our product and provide the absolute best support and best experience. So it's really a good model. Our product is loaded with features where you'd have to use a variety of other products to accomplish the same goal. We've really packed a lot of features into the product, so you don't have to purchase other products or use other products to accomplish the same task. AccuZIP is nationally certified for CAS, DPV, SweetLink, LaxLink, ELOT, Zip+4, Carrier Route, 5-digit, NCOA Link, and ANK Link. We're also Gold PAVE certified for 100% of the required and optional pre-sorts for all first-class mail, periodicals, standard mail, customized market mail, along with bound printed matter, media mail, library mail, manifest first-class and standard mail, which are your mixed weight, including segmented and batch pre-sorts. So we really cover the full gamut with this product. About this webinar is not intended to teach you how to use this product. You will see, however, powerful data handling techniques. We're going to show you the CAS process with time-saving data quality techniques. We're also going to show you postal pre-sorting with some sample reports, intelligent mail barcodes on the container tags and your labels. And we're going to show you the unattended automation using our exclusive script feature. We're going to specifically cover these points in this webinar. We're going to show you the powerful importing feature to import your data. We're also going to show you the CAS process, which is unique to AccuZIP with our integrated dictionary. We're going to go over our pre-sort. We're going to view the container tags and reports in a PDF form. We're also going to show you the intelligent mail barcoded labels. We're going to go over the script feature to automate the manual process, show you how to set that up. And then we're going to show you our exclusive script monitoring feature for completely unattended operation. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and open the software. And the very first screen you'll see when you install and open AccuZIP is this Open Create window. This is kind of your control window. It opens the world for all the formatting of the files, the importing of the data. This is where you start. So the very first option is opening a list for the first time. So you'll want to either select this option or double-click on this icon here, or you can click the OK button, and that'll open up the Open Setup window. Now from this window, in step number 1, you can go ahead and select your input file off your hard disk. So customers send you files via email or give it to you on a disk or a thumb drive. You drop it on your hard drive, and then you simply access it from here. Now when you point to a file and you double click on it, the AccuZIP software will automatically recognize the format of the file. We don't even give you an option to tell us what type of file it is. So AccuZIP will automatically recognize over 270 file formats, which is pretty incredible. So in this case, It's actually recognized that this file is comma separated. It also gives you a header record. You can flip through and see some of the records in the file. But the header record is pretty important because with the header record in AccuZIP, you just simply check use header. And by checking use header, AccuZIP's built-in dictionary automatically recognizes the field names and maps them to our field names accordingly. So the full name always goes in first, and our software will automatically handle the parsing of the name, so it'll separate it into individual components so you can find duplicates easier. So at this point, you can just simply click import. Now, if you wanted to, you could check these boxes and our software would walk you through the entire process, the entire mailing process. It would walk you through and bring up each screen one at a time so you don't make a mistake. It would show you how to go from point A to Z completely, so you're not trying to guess where you go next. It's not a wizard, but what it is it just prompts you with those screens. You answer a few questions, bam, you go through and you're done. So for now, for our purpose, I want to go ahead and show you the interface. So I'm going to go ahead and click import. The software is going to bring the data in at about 130 plus million records per hour. It's very, very fast. So as you can see, the data came in, the name was parsed, and we retain the order of the fields. So our software is the only product on the market that will actually create a database that matches your input structure. Very important. You'll see why later. So we just brought the data in very easily. So now what I'm going to do is going to go ahead and choose File, Open List again. And I'd like to show you how it recognizes other files. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this next file, which is this sample number 2. We'll double click on it. AccuZIP automatically recognizes this as an Excel document. The Excel document has a header record. We just simply check Use Header. The software automatically maps the fields for us. We can leave Parse First checked even though the name's already parsed. It won't matter because those won't be affected at all. So even though the name's already parsed, by checking this, it will ignore names that have been already or previously parsed. So we'll go ahead and click Import. It reads the data in, and as you can see, we have two databases now very easily imported with AccuZIP. We don't have to open the files in another product to determine what file format they are or what the data looks like. We just simply open them with AccuZIP, and AccuZIP gives us a view into the database describing what it is automatically. We're going to go ahead and go to sample 3 now. AccuZIP recognizes this as a fixed length format. That means there's no field or column delimiters. They're delimited only by space, and they're in the same space between each field, and then each record, in this case, ends at 127 characters. So what it's asking us to do here is define the area. So we have to tell it where one field starts and the other one begins. So what we do is we just take our mouse and click the insertion point. So right here, we could either type in the field length and hit the plus sign, or what we could do is click in the insertion point where one field and then press our right mouse button, which would move the data down. So then we go to the next one. We click right here before place. Then we click right here before state. So you left click, right click, left click, right click. So now we've very easily defined the fixed length structure. And at this point, I'll want to go ahead and save that, and I'll save that over here. I'll just call it 2. And there we go. So the next time this comes up, we could just simply choose the map down here, and it would automatically load these settings in for us. So we never have to map. We don't have to define the map again. So I'm going to click OK, and it brings us back to this very simple interface where we can see that the first record has a header record. So we simply click Use Header. What a time saver. What a time saver. Because with other products, you have to map them individually, and you have to map them to predefined fields that are already in a database structure. With ours, it's going to create the structure that matches your input file. Go ahead and click Import. And this data set comes in. This one contains 44,686 records imported within about 1 second. So let's go to the next one. We'll choose Open List. We'll choose number 4. And in this case, AccuZIP detected that this file was a label format. So label formats typically are all in one column, and it's asking us to tell us how many lines make up one complete record. In this case, it appears that 3 lines make up a complete record. We'll click OK. Again, here's our header record, line 1, line 2, line 3. We have to map these to the appropriate field. So in this case, this is the person's first name, which it's the full name, so we're always going to map that to first. We'll go down here and map this to address, and then we'll map this to city. Then we can check parse city, and our software will automatically separate the components of the city, state, and zip. We'll go ahead and click import. And there you go. So the software imported the data, which was a label format, perfectly. Pretty simple. Okay, so let's go on to number 5. We're going to choose Open List, click Select an Input File, and then we're going to go with number 5. Double click. AccuZIP determined that this was pipe separated. Again, it has a header record. We'll go ahead and click Use Header. We'll click Import. So you can see it's really simple to work with data, not having to know what type of file it is or anything like that. Makes it really, really convenient. So let's go ahead and open up one more here. Open List, select an input file. We're going to open up this sample 6.cs. I have no clue what this is. We double click on it. AccuZIP determined that it was comma separated. We'll go ahead and check Use Header, and we'll scroll down. Let me go ahead and reset this just to show you. Look at this. This file has 154 fields. It has a header record already defined. So by checking Use Header, our software now created a database that contains 154 fields using the field names in the header record. So we scroll down here and you can see F name mapped to first, L name mapped to last, and so on. So it mapped perfectly. And then fields that we don't understand, like vehicle ID, calculated, any other field we don't understand, we're just going to give it the same name as your header record. We're going to go ahead and click Import Data. And now we have a file that comes in that contains 154 fields of data, all perfectly imported. With other products, you'd have to create a database with 154 fields, knowing what those were, and then map those fields accordingly. Some products don't support that many columns. So I'm going to go ahead and close each one of these databases, and then we're going to move on to sample number 7. Okay, under File, we're going to choose Open List, click Select an Input File, and now we're going to work with sample 7, and we're going to move on. So we have, again, very familiar with this. You just go ahead and check Use Header. We'll leave the Parse First and Parse City checked. We'll click Import Data. Okay, the file comes in. There's 9,005 records in this database. So the first logical step that we need to do after we bring the data in, as you can see, there's only 5-digit zip codes. Here's your header record right here. We can simply ignore that by clicking on this button to flag the record for deletion. Now it's completely ignored or not. We can let the software do that during the cast process. So the first thing we want to do is validate our records to add zip+4 and delivery point barcodes. So we can do that one at a time just simply by pulling down special to validate this record, and it'll go through and add a zip+4 and a delivery point barcode one at a time. But naturally, that's not going to be effective to do the entire list just simply by doing this or pressing Control L. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click Validate Records, and this will bring up our interface to process this list in batch mode. So in this window, we have 3 distinct columns. We have integrity, personalize, and output. The cool thing is with the integrity, you can go ahead and preserve the original company, address, city, state, and zip. So after the cast process is finished, you have the old site address and the new site address. So you have the standardized address or clean move address. So if they move, we'll update it with a new change of address. And then you have the old site address so you can find the record maybe in your database and make sure you update your source. So I'm going to go ahead and check these boxes so that I have the original address in the original address field. So our software will automatically create these fields for you just simply because you're checking these boxes. We're going to create these additional fields for you automatically. We're also the only product that does that. So we're going to go ahead and come down here, and we're going to tell AccuZIP that after it's validated the records, we want you to delete records if it's missing a component, like if you're missing an address, missing a city, state, any of the address components. It will flag the record for deletion so you don't mail it. If the address is blank or foreign or undeliverable or incomplete 5-digit zip or invalid 5-digit zip, you can check any or all of these, and that helps kind of whittle down the list a little bit so you're not mailing garbage. On the output, when you check these boxes to add line of travel, for example, our software will automatically add the line of travel field. So it'll add 3 fields with the correct field types and field lengths. You check parse address fields, it'll add 8 additional fields that track each individual component of the address. So you might have a primary street number, a pre-direction, a street name, a post direction. All that different information will be in separate fields. So it's really easy to search, for example, by street name. You can pull up all the West streets or Autumn streets. Very simple to search. So you can check the boxes that are applicable, check them all if you want, and then check this box to process the list through NCOA link, which will give you the change of address. You choose the list owner right here. Now before we continue, I wanted to show you this powerful feature called the dictionary. Now our dictionary is exclusive to AccuZIP, and it really helps in getting those terrible data entry mistakes. So your customer gives you a list, and in their list they have these short key entries for typing in these street names, like MLK, when they really should have entered in Martin Luther King, or PCH when they really should have entered in Pacific Coast Highway, or if they're typing in PO boxes and they do PO and maybe just type in the number, our software can automatically convert PO to PO box automatically, conditionally. So that means that this change will only occur if box does not appear in the address field. And remember, these changes are done after the records have been attempted as the originally input record attempted through the process. So this is a great time saver, so you don't have to go back through the list afterwards and do all your manual corrections. AccuZIP also supports what's called pattern-based matching. Pattern-based matching is very, very powerful. If you have in a situation, for example, let's say somebody entered in an address like 100 Main Street, and they didn't put spaces between 100 and the street name, the primary street number. Well, with AccuZIP, it's very, very easy to match to those, because if you're going to type in a pattern, you can just type in an example, precede it with a bracket, then type in your sample, and then press your tab key. And then AccuZIP says, okay, I'm going to change any number, and I'm going to replace it with a space, and then the letter, or whatever. So it begins with matches. So it's going to replace any 3 numbers followed by any 4 or more characters, and it's going to replace and add a space in between the numbers and the letters. And remember, this is after we've attempted to code it the first time. So now, if a record was all concatenated as one word, the primary street number and the street name, our software will verify and certify that record. It'll make that change, it'll reattempt it through the cast, and then it'll go ahead and add your zip +4. So it's a very powerful feature, eliminating just a ton of manual effort. And this feature alone will save you hours and hours of data processing. We're going to go ahead and close this. And then once you've made all your changes here, you can go ahead and save your setting. And what I've done is I've already made a setting called My Defaults. My default settings, of course, automatically checked all the boxes that I saved. And then I also have another setting here called My Move Update Setting. So if I choose that one, as you can see, it automatically checked this box too, because that setting had that checkbox saved. So now I'm going to go ahead and click Validate Records. It's going to go through our list and cast certify the data, and then at the end it's going to go ahead and run it through our NCOA process. As you can see, the software caches a lot of the information in memory, so the process right now is going at about 100 records per second, and it'll speed up as the as the addresses buffer. So once the cache process is finished, the data will be encrypted and uploaded to our secure server, where it will be processed through our NCOA. Now the NCOA process will return to us all of the changes of address, so you'll be in full compliance with the move update. Then you can do your first class, your periodical, your standard mail mailing, or bound printed matter, knowing that now you're mailing to the actual address where they've moved to, and clean standardized addresses with barcodes. So now that the cache process is completed, the file will be compressed, encrypted, and double password protected, and uploaded to our secure server. So as you can see, the file was uploaded. It's now processing, so we give you real-time status on the list itself. There's only 10,000 records, so it takes about 1 second on our server to process that. If you had 1 million records, it would take about 3 minutes to process. Pretty darn quick. Okay, so now the list has come back. As you can see, some of the records are flagged for deletion because in the validate records window, remember we said delete the records that are not deliverable. So it's done that. It's also processed it through an NCOA process, so I want to go ahead and briefly show you that. So we're going to go ahead and choose select, show, and then I can come down here and say, okay, show me all of the NCOA link matches between 0 and 18 months. So now we're looking at moves that occurred between 0 and 18 months. There's the old site address, and here's the new address that we're going to actually mail to. In this case, we had 419 moves that occurred between 0 and 18 months. Now, when we do our pre-sort, it's going to go to this address versus the other address. And that's going to save you a lot of time, money, embarrassment, whole bunch. So it's really a simple process to keep your list clean. You could then export the data, if you wanted to at this point, as an Excel document or whatever file format your customer wanted so they could update their source. So the next logical step after the cache process, validating your records, would be to find your duplicates. So as you can see here, we have validate records. Our next logical step is to show duplicates. So we're going to go ahead and click Show Duplicates. Now in our Show Duplicates window, we're going to do it by person, which will mail one piece to each unique person. We're also going to use, and by the way, the person match has a built-in dictionary here, an AKA dictionary. So the cool thing about this is that our software will automatically recognize AKA names as exact matches. So common AKA names would be like Bob and Robert or Bill and William. So if we see those, if you have two different records, one with Bill and one with William at the same address, then our software will flag it as an exact match. And that's pretty cool. Where other products will not pick that up as a match at all. Think of them as two different people. So I'll go ahead and click Close. And in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and click Start. The records are viewing. I can go ahead at this point. We can review the duplicates if we wanted to. If we wanted to unflag a record for deletion, we could just simply uncheck it. If we click the Update Database, it'll go through and flag those records for deletion, so they're not included in our pre-sort. We'll click OK. And now we're ready to pre-sort our list. So the next logical step here would be to pre-sort. Okay, so now the pre-sort window's appeared. It's very, very simple to set up our pre-sort. So we're going to go ahead and set this up for a standard mail letter size, but I'm going to show you real quickly. We support all classes of mails: first class, periodical, standard mail, bound printed matter, and then you can add the library mail and medium mail pre-sorts if you'd like. So we're going to go ahead and click standard mail. We're going to choose profit. On our size, in this case, we're going to choose letters. Now, if you don't know the size of your piece, you can click on our little calculator here, and then you can go in and enter in the dimension of your mail piece and the thickness and how much it weighs. You can choose either ounces, pounds, milligrams, grams, or kilograms. We'll go ahead and type in the piece as 1.2. We'll click OK. The software is automatically determined for us how many pieces fit in a tray. We just need to tell it how we want to pay for it. Let's go ahead and do metered. You can also apply the full service intelligent mail barcode if you'd like. In this case, we're just going to print the barcode, and at the end, we're going to do the basic intelligent mail barcode. So now we can go ahead and we can say include the ZIP+4, non-ZIP+4 record. So if you wanted to mail it to everybody on your list, just go ahead and check that box. It'll also include records that did not get a ZIP+4 or barcode. But in our case, I just want to mail to deliverable records, so I'm not going to check that box. Up here, you can enter in the zip code to your local post office. I'll go ahead and enter in this one. What it does is it gives me the address and phone number, and then here is the SCF. I'm going to go ahead and check SCF2 so I can get an SCF rate by dropping it at this particular post office. If you wanted to, you could also do multiple drop shipments. So if I click on this icon, it brings me and shows me all of the SCFs in the nation. So I could check any of these if I wanted to drop them. I could also set individual thresholds. So that means that AccuZIP won't qualify any mail for that drop unless there's at least 200 pieces. And I could change this threshold to say maybe 5,000 or whatever I wanted to. Then we could just leave that box checked for any list, and it would only qualify for that SCF Springfield when there were 5,000 records. You could also click on our little down arrow here to quickly calculate the counts. So what it did was it queried this database, and it gave us a quick count on how many records are in each SCF. You could also do the same thing with the Pittsburgh, the NDC. And click that. You can click the down arrow, and of course it'll give you a quick count to show me how many records are at each ASF or NDC. So then you could say, oh, okay, I want to go ahead and make sure I mail to this one and check it. You can go ahead and check any one you want. You could also set thresholds. For this purpose, I'm only going to do an SCF drop. I'm going to save everything to a folder called Presort folder. So that means when the Presort is completed, all of the mail.dat files and everything is nice and neat inside of a Presort folder, which I can give any name I want. If I leave it that name and I presort it a second time, it'll automatically date stamp the folder, so preserving the original Presort so I can compare them at a later date. So I'm going to go ahead and save these settings. I'm going to call my standard mail letter settings. So the next time I bring up this list, I could reload the settings, or I could apply these same settings to another list maybe this customer gave me. I'm going to go ahead and click Presort. It's going to go through the list and presort the list, and now it gives us our total rates. It also gives us a hyperlink to the Presort folder. So if I click on the hyperlink, it brings us into the Presort folder and shows us all of our mail.dat files that we can upload to Postal One. It also gives us all of the Presort files that it generated for all of our reports. So I'm going to go ahead and close this window for now, and I'll bring it back up in a second. So the first thing I want to show you is I'm going to go ahead and click Print Tags. Now on our container tags, I'm going to go ahead and print our tags to a PDF document. I'm going to print on plain paper, and I'm going to include the intelligent mail barcode. I'm going to go ahead and hit Print. It's going to generate a PDF document. So if I click on the hyperlink again, as you can see, it generated our container tags in what we call etags.pdf. So we just simply double click on that. It'll open up Adobe, and it'll display our container tags for us. We can also embed the intelligent mail barcode into the container tag, so if we send it off to our customer, then they could open and print this too without actually having the font. So as you can see here, since we printed it to plain paper, it printed cut marks for us so we could cut the container tags. We also sell container tag stock here at $10 per 1,000 tags, very cheap, and you can run them through your laser printer or high-speed printers. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close out of the PDF document. I'm going to close the folder, and then I'm going to go back and click Print Reports. So on Print Reports, I'm going to go ahead and print the USPS Qualification Report. These are all the required reports, so let's go ahead and print those. I can also choose a predefined mailing statement. So if I've already set up the mailing statement, I can just simply choose it here and check this box, and our software will automatically bypass the mailing statement input window, so I don't have to set it up again. I'm going to go ahead and check Presort parameter report. What this does is it prints the Presort window. It actually prints the actual Presort window. So at a later time, you can keep this on file. And let's say you had another license to AccuZip on a different computer. You could either give them that paperwork, or you could email them this Presort folder very easily. I'll show you that in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and click PS Form 8125, which will generate that drop ship form for me. And I'm going to go ahead and uncheck this so I can show you the mailing statement input window. As soon as I click print, it brings up the mailing statement setup window, so I can go ahead and enter in, any of this data that may be different. There we go. And so you can populate it. You can actually change the mailing date here. You can save these settings, change the permit number, change the payment method. As you notice here, the move update method, AccuZip is automatically selected NCOA link because we process it through our NCOA link. You can also choose any other service that you may have used on the list if you didn't run it through our NCOA service. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. It's going to go ahead and generate a bookmarked PDF document with all of my paperwork. So it's going to be very easy to thumb through it to check it out or to reprint any of the reports. Okay, so we're going to go back to the hyperlink. As you can see here, we have our e-documentation. I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. It'll take a moment. Once the documentation opens, you'll see the mailing statement completely filled out for you. And then we'll advance to the second page of the mailing statement. And as you can see here, we qualified for both the SCF and the none entry. One important thing to recognize is that AccuZip prints these reports dynamically. So in the report, the only columns that print, or the only sections that print, are the applicable sections. So as you notice that we're not printing section A5 through A8 because they're not applicable to the mailing. So that means that our standard mail and our first class statements will always be 2 pages long, never longer. Let's go to the next page, and as you can see here, we have the NCOA processing summary bookmark. So this shows that you process it through a CAS and an NCOA process, which this proves you're compliant with the move update standards. We'll go ahead and click the SCF dropship form. So this completely filled out the plant verified dropship form for the SCF going to Pittsburgh. Gives you their address, phone, and fax as well. And let's go to the CAS certificate. This shows that you process it through our CAS software. All completely filled out for you to sign. Go to the USPS qualification report. As you can see, it broke out the SCF mail, so that you would take this qualification report with the mail that you're dropping there in Pittsburgh. Go to the next page, and this mail is going to your local entry. All the reports are very easy to read. We have the lines that separate the containers, and we break it down very nicely for you to prepare your mail. We'll go down to the Presort parameters. Now, the Presort parameters describes how you set up the Presort and what we calculated as your aspect ratio, your piece thickness, also your 1 foot and your 2 foot piece counts. And we scroll down a little bit. And here's a picture of your Presort window and exactly how you set it up. Pretty convenient. We'll go back to the mailing statement, and we'll go ahead and pull down File to exit. Close this. And now we're ready to go ahead and click Labels. And this interface is very, very nice. You can actually start printing from a certain record very easily. So, for example, here in our little, if your printer jammed or something and you needed to pick up from where you left off, you could search by container number. We have all of that in here. So we scroll over here to the far side. You have your container ID. So you could very easily search on container ID. And it goes right down to container 2, as you can see here. So then all of our navigational tools, as you can see, from to, so it's starting at, that's sequence number 162. So here it is starting at 162, and then you can check this box and it'll isolate just those records and print to the end, or you could say print rest starting at 162, or you could go all and it'll print all of your records. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and choose a 5162. Now 5162 is a 2-across label template. The printer I'm going to print to is a laser writer, but you could choose any of your printers. We have the Neopost printers, all the Rena printers, the Bryce, CCAP, all the Taniums, Busgrow, Astrojet. So you can choose your printer model from here. And in this case, I'm just going with a laser writer and a label format. If we wanted to, we could go ahead and choose disk file, and that would allow us to export the data, including the intelligent mail barcode, to be used in other applications. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and uncheck a printer prompt. I do want to preview the labels. We're going to print a barcode, and we're going to actually print the intelligent mail barcode. Go ahead and hit print. The software generates the intelligent mail barcode and will display our records. So this is a true across label template, and what I did was and this is in another webinar where you can do some of this fancy stuff where we go over the label editor. Very, very powerful. In this case, I have it putting a red asterisk when the new package or tray begins. So it's a good indicator as you're browsing through these labels, or if they're printing at high speed, for you to catch your eye so you know where the bundles break. Our software also could pause between trays or pause between packages to add kind of a separation so you can visualize and see that as it's coming down the belt, your conveyor belt, if you're printing on a high-speed direct imprint printer, giving you just enough time so you can gather up those pieces and put them in the tray and begin the next tray or bundle. So as you can see here, we're also printing the tray number and the group or package number. So we can flip through those a little bit. And you see here, here's where tray 2 begins, and group number 1, again, the asterisk. So it's a good indicator where it starts. Click close here. And we're going to go ahead and close this for now on the label. We're going to go ahead and close all windows because now I want to show you the scripting feature. So after we close all those, I'm going to go back to our folder here, where our test folder, and I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and change the type. Let's get rid of some of these files. We'll get it back to default, because I'm going to show you the script feature on how easy it is to set up a script to do precisely what we just did, all manual. So we just did a lot of steps manually. I'm going to go ahead and set it up. Here we go. There we go. I think we're back to default. So we have sample 1 through sample 7. I'm going to process sample number 7 here through a script. The script will allow me to click one button. It'll process that entire file without any user interaction. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new script. There we go. And that could be a customer or whatever. You can give it any name you want. I'm going to go ahead and edit the script. And through a very easy to use interface, we're going to go ahead and set up a script to process sample number 7 automatically, as if I was, instead of doing each manual step, which took us about 10 or 15 minutes to process, even with our instructions. So I'm going to go ahead and choose these items under here are the menus across the top. So you can see across the top you have your File, Edit menu, same thing here. So we choose File. The first thing we did was we chose Open List. So what I like to do is I like to set up the sequence of events that we're going to do and then go and define those events. So the first thing I want to do is do Open List. The next logical step after doing Open List would be to validate our records. And then after validating the records, we want to go ahead and show our duplicates. So I'm going to choose Select, Show Duplicates. After Show Duplicates, we want to go ahead and pre-sort the mail. So I'm going to go Sort, Pre-sort Mail. And then we're going to go ahead and print our container tags, and our reports. Okay, so now I've defined the list in the sequence that I wanted. I could reverse the sequence just simply by dragging them. Now I want to define what these events are actually going to do. So I'm going to double click on Open List, and it brings up the familiar interface. So I'm going to click Select an Input File and choose Sample Number 7. I'm going to check Use Header and tell it to automatically run. Click Save. We're going to do the same thing with Validate Records. We're going to choose our Save setting. This one I'm going to run through only CAS, so I'm not checking NCOA. Actually, let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to choose that. We're going to click Save. After I click Auto Run, click Save. Then I'm going to go ahead and do duplicate detection by person, Auto Run. Presort Mail, I'm going to load that setting I created. I'm not going to have it overwrite the Presort folder, so it creates a brand new one. I'm going to click Auto Run, Save. Double click on the tags. I'm going to print to a PDF document. I can embed the font if I want. I'm going to go ahead and click Auto Run. And you can put a little message here if you wanted to. If you don't put anything, it'll print the name of your database. I'm going to go ahead and print to plain paper. I'm going to print the Intelligent Mail barcode and click Save. I'm going to go ahead and print the USPS qualification report, the mailing statement. I'm going to use this save statement, check CAS, Form 8125, and Presort parameter report. I'm going to click Auto Run, create PDF, and save. That simple to set up a script. I'm going to click Save. So now we have a script here that we can just simply run. So now it's going through and it's validating the records. It'll also run those through our NCOA process. So we literally set up that script in about 2 minutes. And next time the customer hands us a new file, we'll simply drop that file into their folder and run this script. Now what we could do is, instead of in the first step there where we chose open a list, we could have not chose a list, and then it would have prompted us for the list to process. So the cool thing is, as an IT or a manager, you can actually set up a standard set of data quality events that you want to perform on any list. And remember, you can use nearly all of the menu items and all of the features that are available in AccuZIP, you can script. So you can set up the exact order in which you want them to process, and then have your data manager follow those steps every single time so it's consistent. Okay, so it's all completely done. If we close the script window, and we can go back to the folder that contained the sample 7. And as you can see, it generated the Presort folder here for us. We'll go ahead and double click on that. And here's our documentation and our tags. So we open up the container tags. Once the container tags open, we'll go ahead and open up the documentation. So there's your container tags. Go back here and open up the documentation. The same as what we did manually, except we scripted it. And we scripted it in about 2 minutes, saving us lots of time and money. So now the last thing I want to show you is we're going to take that script, this one that we created, and I've went ahead and created scripts similar to this that are going to run completely unattended. Now the main difference is that now I've checked this box saying that we want to run that script automated, and here I define the watch folders. So basically what I've done is I've set up individual folders in a master folder called FTP Folders. So what you could do is you could use programs like ServView or any FTP program that allows your customer to upload a list to your server or your computer. And in here, this is an example of a customer folder. And in their customer folder, they uploaded this particular file, for example. Now notice the file begins with the letter C. So the cool thing is you can have your customer prefix their file, because our software can actually look at the name of the file, and based on the name of the file, it can run a certain script. So you can have a script that just casts only. You can have scripts that do NCOA link with CAS. You could have, scripts that do that plus pre-sorting for standard mail letters or bound printed matter, using certain 5-digit zip codes. The cool thing is that our software can recognize the name of a file and perform actions on that file based on the name, which is cool, or based on instructions that you may put in an INI file. That we can go over individually. That, our support is free, our training is free. So this file begins with the letter C. I just want to show you some of this. And here, this file begins with the letter N. Here's another one, begins with the letter C, different file. And the cool thing is you're really going to now start to understand and appreciate why it is important that a software product automatically recognizes the file format and can utilize the header record to create the database itself. This is where it really comes into focus, because your customers drop in these files and they could be really virtually any format. As long as they have a header record, our software will automatically map the fields and process the file. It doesn't matter if the zip code field is first or second or last. Okay, so as you can see, what we've done here is we're going to set up a watch folder. We're going to have it actually watch the FTP folder. So you just click on this watch folder button, and you can select which folder is your watch folder. So I have it in here, my documents. Here's the FTP folder. So this folder right here is my master watch folder. I click OK. And then here, we're telling it which subfolders within that watch folder we want it to watch. So within the FTP folder, here are the folders. So we're going to select one of the folders and we're going to click OK. So what it does is it brings up the name of the folder here, and then we can say we want to watch folders that are exactly that name, or all subfolders, or folders that begin with that folder name, or maybe begin with and have the same number of characters. So we could select this one if we wanted to, click the down arrow. So now it's not only going to watch folders that begin with the number 0, but they must have this exact number of characters. They could be any character, but they can only be this long. So that means that it'll ignore any other folders within the master FTP folder, which is cool. You can also exclude folders. So even though right here we're watching all folders that begin with the number 0, you can say, okay, don't process folders that begin with, like, let's say 0 and 1 star. So you could exclude those types of folders. And you can list those all the way down, whatever you wanted to. So you really have an unlimited capability of this. Because let's say, for example, one of your clients didn't pay their bill. Well, and let's say they were client number 123, 23, something like this, 203. So you could say, okay, exclude their folder. So you could basically turn them off. So they could upload files, and it's going to process all of these and not this one, any files that exist in that folder. You can do the same thing with files. So what I've done here is I said, okay, I don't want to process any files that are DBF file extensions or INIs or .cas, which are some of the files that we create during the process. Now this particular script is going to process files that begin with the letter N only. So I can click again. I can click on this. I could go into here and say, okay, I want you to process this file. You could say exactly like that one, or you could say, okay, begins with, and then you can hit the down arrow, and it does that for you. You could also freely type into here, whatever you wanted to, and just keep on, adding to this. So you don't have to actually select the interface. So it's very, very powerful. So it's going to only process files in these folders that begin with the letter N. The reason is because the way I set up this script right here is to do, so you can see it's the same thing. This right here is set up to do the NCOA process, where this other script I set up in the validate records is only set up to do CAS only. So these scripts that I've set up are only going to process it through the address quality. They're not going to do the pre-sorts, although we could. We could even set up other scripts to do pre-sorting after files have been processed through CAS based on certain naming conventions. Really, really powerful stuff. Really, the sky's the limit. Your creativity is the limit. Good stuff. So now I'm going to go ahead and check monitor. As you can see here, it's recognized that there's 3 files that match the watch folder settings, and you can see what they are. So you can actually test to see if what you set up here is actually seeing those files. So I'm going to go ahead and click monitor. As you can see, the software is now monitoring those folders. So now you can just go home. You can leave the software running for months. It'll automatically recognize the files as they're dropped into the folders and automatically process them as you instructed. Now what I've done here in the script is I've added a couple of commands, and our commands are very, very powerful. Our command window, which I've not gone over today, which is in a separate webinar. Our commands allow you to do things that you would not normally have a menu item for. For example, I have commands that actually take the input file and all of the files that the resulting files, and archive them. So while this script is processing, I'm going to open up the folder, the FTP folder. So they're still processing now, you can see in the background. It's already processed this folder. So if we open up this folder, notice that the file is gone, but an archive folder has been created. Well, that's what the command did. It actually created an archive folder for me and put our input file into it and the resulting clean data. So now I know that this file right here is clean with all of our move update changes. We go back here to here's number 2. As soon as it gets to number 2, so basically it's going to process these files first in, first out. So however your customers upload their data or you drop them into these watch folders, it processes them. The first one in is the first one out. So you can see right now it's processing this file, and we can see some of the temporary files being created. This particular one is going to run through an NCOA process, so you can see in the background. So we'll go back to AccuZIP and watch that complete. This in itself can save you thousands of dollars per year. And if you just take a step back and think about how powerful this feature is alone, you can have a license of AccuZIP on a server, and it can process all of your data, even through a pre-process, even if you only wanted to use it to do the CAS and address quality for your customers. And this gives you a competitive advantage over everybody else, because you could have your customers dropping and dragging files all day long, and then you can charge them for it, because with the command, we could also, as you can see, now it's cleared all the files. Notice there's no more files to process because it moved them into a watch, into the archive folder. So we go back over here, pretty exciting stuff. There's your clean data. So let's go ahead and open this. So I'm going to go ahead and close the script monitor. I'm going to go ahead and choose Open Database. As you can see the archive here, I'm going to open this up. And again, we just go here to Show, NCOA matches between 0 and 18 months. So there you go. There's your old site address. Here's your new site address. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this and go ahead and exit out of AccuZIP. And in conclusion, let me go ahead and start here. I apologize. That was my bad. So in conclusion, I'd like to go ahead and thank you, first of all, for taking your time. AccuZIP6 can significantly reduce your annual costs to providing mailing services, because as you can see, it does much more than just pre-sorting your list and validating your records. It's a complete solution. It's an all-in-one alternative to other expensive data quality and mailing software solutions. It's feature-rich. So to do some of the things that we did in here, you're going to have to spend more money to add more services to your existing solution. You may have to buy different products to accomplish what you did all in AccuZIP. AccuZIP has a guaranteed low annual price. It's $15.90 a year. That price will never change for you. So once you're locked in at that price. We also have an exclusive referral program. So when you're an AccuZIP customer and you refer us to your friend or colleague, we will cut your annual subscription for the business edition to just $5.95 a year versus $15.90. So as you can see, it's a great product, great concept, great philosophies. We really enjoy helping you. Our customer service and customer support are absolutely over the top. I'm going to go ahead and you can visit our AccuZIP website. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up for you in a moment. It's AccuZIP.com. On our AccuZIP website, the support options that we provide here, as you can see, are all free. They're all available to you. We have live chat, guaranteed 15-minute response on emails and faxes. You can contact us if you want. We have eyesight support, which allows us to connect to your computer and control your computer and assist you at any time. We have a really, really, really good forum. And then we also we're on Twitter. We provide instructional videos. We have AccuZIP tech notes that describe, how to. We have a command resource section in our website, so you can go and write. We already have commands that others have written, and they've provided to us as open source. But anyways, it's a robust product backed by the best technical support. You can also go here and see some of our testimonials, probably more than 100 in here, unsolicited testimonials. So I really want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to view the AccuZIP6 demo. If you have any questions, please contact sales@AccuZIP.com. Our phone number is 800-233-0555. And thank you again. Please call if you have questions.